Hey guys, time for some fun with Mrs. Caplin. I figured while we're doing COVID lockdown that I might treat you to some art classes. So my helper Hayley,
Hi.
just turn around.
Hello.
She's going to be my videographer today. And I kind of cheated, and she's very much helped me set up all these art activities while I've been busy working, so I can do them step by step to step you through them. So today we are going to do 3D hand art. So I'm going to show you all the steps so that you can do it at home. So first, your materials. Blank piece of paper. Doesn't have to be fancy art paper, just a blank piece of paper. Any size, but just bear in mind the bigger the size of your page, the more colouring you're going to have to do, and then your hand will probably fall off. You might want a sharpener, writing pencil, black shading pencil, just a normal colouring pencil, rulers, whatever you can find around the home, and some rubbers for some boo-boos. Now also you can use crayons, you can use textures, you can use colour in pencils, whatever you have laying around the house. So I'm going to be using felt pens to colour in today, but you use whatever you've got, guys. I also recommend that if you're not using a table and you don't have a suitable workspace, that you set yourself up. Now I have cheated and I've stolen a washing basket from the laundry. I've just put a towel over it so it looks like a nice workspace, and I'm just going to lean on an old art book. So first thing you want to do, get your blank piece of paper, and you're going to put it so it is tall like a building, and we call that portrait. So you've got to put it in the portrait position. You're going to position your hand so it's roughly 3/4 of the page. Spread your fingers, but not so that they're off the page, otherwise it's not going to work. So keep your fingers in, little bit space, and you've got a little bit of arm as well, so it kind of looks like your hand's coming up out of the picture. Now take your time with this part, but if you make a mistake, you stop, you rub it out, and you do it again, no biggie. So nice and slowly trace around your hand. Now you don't need to go as fast as me. I'm just trying to do it a bit quicker so that the video doesn't go for 10,000 years. So bring it all the way down until it reaches the end of the page, and it should look somewhat like that. Kind of boring at the moment, but this is where it gets awesome. So every ruler is broken up into centimetres and inches. So you want the centimetre side, and what you're going to do is a little trick that I've done over many years. Some wonderful teacher at some point taught me how to do it. You're going to line up the page. Doesn't matter which end of the ruler you start at, as long as you've got the start of your page on a centimetre line number there. And I'm going to go through, and every centimetre I'm going to put a little dot. So not too dark, because you want to be able to not see your guidelines later. So I'm going to take this all the way to the end. And keep going all the way to the end, so you've got your little dot guideline there. Now on the other side, you're going to do the same thing, so line up your centimetre marker. And once again, do your little dots all the way up. Okay, for anyone who actually doesn't have a ruler laying around the house, there's actually another trick you can do. And if you just use your thumb, my thumbs are a little bit bigger than yours, so if you've got a big thumb like me, even a finger, as long as you're using the same finger to measure each time, they're going to be the same width. So you use your finger as a ruler, and you put your dot on that side, and move it along like that. So if you don't have a ruler, you can cheat and use your finger. But unfortunately, you kind of need a ruler for this next step. But if you don't have a ruler, I'm going to show you a cheat for that as well. So, when it comes to the line ruling, all you need to do is put your ruler in line with these two dots here, these first 2 centimetre dots. You're going to line them up and hold your ruler nice and tight. You're going to go from the edge of your hand tracing and take that all the way to the edge of the page. So it should look like that. We're not ruling on the hand part, just on the outside of the hand part. Then you're going to move your ruler up to your next centimetre marking and do the same thing. Keep going until it's all the way up your page, making sure you're using your guide dots so it's nice and neat. Now, for those of you, I told you that if you didn't have a ruler, we can cheat. So you use your finger or your thumb as a marker, and if you get a book or even just a reading book, a school book, you can use the edge of your book for a ruler instead. So even without a ruler, you can still do this activity. See, still works. Sneaky, sneaky, using things around your house to help you do art, which is totally awesome. Okay, so I kind of cheated and I did one earlier so I could speed this process up. So all I've done is rule all the way up. I've done my guideline dots, so I have got a consistent 1 centimetre space and lines all the way up my page. Now, as you can see on this one, I have also done the hand. Now the hand is a little bit different, which is why we left it blank on this one. So I'm just going to put this one away and show you how to do the hand. Now the hand is not a straight line like we ruled, it's kind of like a bridge. So as Hayley explained to me earlier, this friend here wants to be friends with this friend here, and we're just going to join it in a kind of just over a little river bridge. So not too much of an arch, but a slight curve. So you can see that that's not a straight line there, it's just a slight curve. You can do it a little bit curvier, but you want to make sure that you consistently do the same curve all the way along. So you don't have your guidelines that we ruled and dotted earlier, but these become your new guidelines. So you can see that every line has 2 sides that meet. So all you are doing is joining the friends so they can cross the bridge together to each other. And you go all the way up and help them get across to their friend. So you can see with this line here at the top how you can definitely tell that that line there is slightly curved. Okay, and that's going to give you that 3D effect like the hands coming out of the page. So we'll do the fast forward to the one I prepared earlier. So you can see the curve lines. I have done them all the way up here and joined my friends. So they've got the bridge crossing all the way up to here. Now when you get to the fingers, it looks a little bit overwhelming, but it's still the same process. So you'll have, your friends are still meeting, and it's still the one continuous line, and you just keep curving. So you see with the fingers here, this friend crosses the bridge to that friend. This one crosses the bridge to that friend. So this is still one bowed line in the middle. Same with this finger. This bridge to this bridge to that friend to that friend, that friend to that friend, that friend to that friend. And you go all the way up until your fingers have got that curve line all the way up. And you can already see that that 3D hand is starting to take shape. Okay, so how do we get from here to here? Pretty easy. So I suggest choosing 2 to 3 colours. You can do rainbow, and you all know how much Mrs. Caplin loves rainbow. Choose 3 colours that start with different letters, and I'll show you why. So I've chosen yellow, blue and pink. And what you're going to do is you're going to alternate. Now when there's so much colouring to do, my brain gets a little bit wishy-washy and I sometimes forget where I'm up to, and then I put the wrong colour down and I don't want to have to start all over again. So I work out what sequence I'm going to do. Am I going to go yellow, blue, pink, or pink, blue, yellow? Which way? I decide now. And then with a light writing pencil, I'm going to write, let's go P for pink, Y for yellow, B for blue. I suggest you probably should do it on the end so you don't get interrupted by your hand. And go all the way down until you get to the end of the page. So that way you can just keep track of where you're up to and what colour you're up to and you don't get mixed up. Because it'd be pretty unfortunate to get all the way up to here and then do the wrong colour. Alrighty. So, said I'd do pink first. Colouring, take your time. Now, very, very carefully go across your line. Now, if you're worried that you cannot do that line straight, you can get your ruler back out and do it this way if you'd like it to be neater. Okay, but that's up to the individual, no pressure. I'm just going to go over the top of that curved line just there. Don't stress if your texture doesn't exactly match your pencil, because we can always rub our guidelines later. Alright, now you're going to colour the best you can, nice and neatly, whether you do little sections like this or long sections. Whatever you do when you're colouring though, I suggest that you make sure that you always colour the same direction. So don't go long ways and then go up and down like this, because you'll start to see that texture in your end product and it won't look as nice. So you can see where I went the other way with my texture there, it's a bit of a different colour. So try to make sure that when you're colouring, you always go the same direction. So I'm using a combination of little small sections and lines, but I'm still always going in the same direction. Now, I won't keep going all the way up with all the colours. I'll just do a little bit, just otherwise we will be here all night. Don't stress too much either about your pencil showing up, because you can always outline in black pencil later, which will cover your writing pencil, so it won't stand out or make any difference later. What colour was next? Lucky I did my guidelines. Blue. When you get down to the bottom near the other colour, make sure you go nice and neat. Once again, if you're worried, use your ruler, because you've got to be very, very careful when you're using textures not to get bleeding. So bleeding, yes, when you cut yourself you bleed, but with textures, you can see here, when you're colouring with textures you get bleeding, so that's when the colour goes into the other colour and kind of mushies, and if you get too much bleeding and mixture, it can go really yucky colours, and you don't want your picture to have colours on it that you didn't put there. And especially when it comes to using colours, your primary colours, when you mix two colours they make another colour. So I don't want any green happening, because I didn't choose green, I chose blue and yellow. So you can already see that 3D shape happening. Okay, so I'm going to hold it there, and you're going to go all the way up until yours starts looking like this. So Hayley's done one for me earlier. She's done green, purple, pink. She's repeated that pattern, and you can see the curved lines there and the hand coming out of the page. So she's still got to finish hers yet. I've got a lot longer to go than Hayley's, but I'm going to pause it there so that I can show you how to shade, because I think by now you're probably all over the colouring thing. So this is where you're going to get your black pencil, and you can see here with Hayley's that she's prepared earlier. She's not only outlined, she's done some shading, and that gives your picture that little bit of depth and that little bit of dramatic sort of play on the eyes and that 3D effect, so it looks like it's actually coming out of the page. Right, breaking down shading, Hayley style. So you want to start with a heavy line. You move to your heavy line with a light shaded line beside that, down beside that, coming down here. Your heavy line, your darker shaded line, and then some small little circles, which I'm going to show you that end effect. It's really, really easy to do. So because I've only done so much of my page, I've only got to do this little section here, but obviously you will trace around your whole picture. And you only need a pencil. So because I'm leaning on a book, it's a bit trickier to push it really hard, but if you're on a table, it's going to be easier to get that heavy line there that you need. So I've done my first heavy line there, like Hayley showed us. Now I'm going to do my light shaded line here. So a little bit of pressure, but not as much as you needed with that first line there. Now it just gives the illusion of a shadow. Now to do the last effect, you do a lot of little circles. So kind of think of wax on, wax off, doing lots of little circles. It kind of looks like a fluffy cloud. So I'm moving my pencil in little circles. Doesn't look like much, but you don't want those little fluffy cloud circles, the shadow. You don't want it as dark as that second softer line. It needs to be just visible. So you can see the difference there. If you just zoom in there for me, Hayley. You can see a massive difference. Just using those different depths of shading makes all the difference. So that looks pretty good if you ask me. Alright, so once you've finished doing your shading and it looks as fabulous as Hayley's first, here's one I prepared earlier. You've gone all the way around, you've done all your shading. You can then get some scissors if you've got any serrated edges and trim that up. You can also get your rubber eraser and just rub out any of your pencil lines where your texture's gone over. Just lighten those. If you ended up doing any of your lettering for your colours, so you can keep an eye on that, go through and rub those out and just tidy it up. Once you have mastered your first 3D wall art creation and you've done the hand, you can then move on to other shapes and other pictures. So it actually works well with anything, using the same concept with the 1 centimetre gaps. So Hayley's done some examples for you. So that's with a heart. It's pretty awesome. Pandas, you know I love my panda bears. So we've just done one so you can see with the picture how that works with the half and half. So obviously here's the one coloured in and the one not done yet. So try doing it with the sun, you could do it with a star. Try to make sure that it is one whole, just one piece. So you get, so you want to do like shapes or just one picture, not lots of pictures, and that's going to give you the best effect. So you've got that central point that's coming out. If you have too many different pictures that you're trying to do the 3D art with, it just gets a bit busy, and then it might lose that wow effect that you're hoping for with it coming out of the page. So that is the end of my arts and crafts session for today. So I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I look forward to doing another video in the future. So see you next time.